The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Major funding for Triad Today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making healthcare better for all. Small business grants on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Kernersville Auto Museum. We'll tell you about a special event coming up at the museum at the end of the show, and also that's when the roundtable shows up, so stay tuned for that. We're going to get into all sorts of controversies. We start with this program with Duke Energy and the good folks. My good friend on the far right, Jimmy Flythe, is Director of Government Community Relations for Duke Energy. Jimmy's special guest is Eddie McGee, Executive Director of Stokes County Arts Council. Good to see both of you guys.
Great.
Good to see you. Thanks, Jim.
Jimmy, of course, I've heard that Duke Energy awards small business grants. You and I have talked about that before.
Yeah.
But now tell me about that program first, and then tell me why Eddie is your special guest.
Sure, yeah. So it's a program Duke's been doing since 2020, giving almost $2.5 million to grants for small businesses. The way the program's set up is each year we've offered $500,000, so it's $25,000 grants, and we ask for a nonprofit such as the Arts Council in Stokes County, that's why Eddie's here, to apply for those grants and administer the grants and kind of take the applications from small businesses.
Right.
So
Eddie might be here just because he wants to see me. You don't know.
True, yeah.
Eddie, no, I think that's great. Eddie, first of all, let's back up a second. Tell the folks what the mission of the Arts Council is. It might seem obvious to you and folks in the arts community. What's the mission?
Well, to support and promote the arts in rural Stokes County, North Carolina. But for us, we've expanded that mission. So we're not just for art's sake. We are, and again, it's because we have a small rural county, but you know, we preserve our heritage, we promote tourism, and we're kind of the cog in the connections for the rest of the county.
Right, and Stokes County, for those that don't know, it includes some towns of what? Give me some examples.
Oh, we have Danbury, we have King, Walnut Cove, and a bunch of little small communities.
Right, and a lot of history, a lot of heritage in that. Now, all right, now how did the Arts Council get involved in administering the grants that Jimmy is talking about?
Well, we have over 50 years we've been in business. We've had almost for that entire 50 years, we have a connection with Duke Energy. But again, in a small rural county like Stokes County, the Arts Council, we've got to have a varied skill set. We've got to be able to, we know all the players, we know all the small businesses because we're all active in all the communities.
Right.
And we've also had processes over the years where we've sub-granted to artists and arts organizations.
So you got a lot of experience with this.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And so, yeah.
Well, how many grants were awarded, and just to put you on the spot, how many grants were awarded? And maybe give me some examples of some of the recipients.
Yeah, so we awarded eight grants for small businesses, and they varied. They were throughout the county. We had new businesses, some startups, and some established businesses. Wallflower Books in Walnut Cove, they wanted to expand their inventory, to expand their customer base, and we thought that was a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
We had Artist Way, wanted to expand their inventory, but they also wanted to expand some marketing. And they're an established business. They've been in existence for over 30 years. Again, great proposal. A couple new businesses, Holler Brewery, which will be in Danbury. Again, microbrewery in North Carolina. We thought that was a great business 2 miles from Hanging Rock State Park.
And these were all existing businesses?
Yeah. Well, some had started, some were existing, and that was to me, the exciting part of receiving the proposals is seeing that what they were going to do with the money, leveraging that money that Duke invested.
Well, Eddie, give me your opinion on this. How important is support for small business in Stokes County in general? How important is it for the public, for the residents, for people who might visit the county? Just give me your overall feeling on that.
It's very, very important. Small businesses are the foundation, especially in Stokes County. We don't have large manufacturing plants. We do have the Duke Energy steam station, which is wonderful. But again, the foundation of Stokes is small business.
Right.
And so it's important because these businesses were already going to invest in themselves, but having Duke Energy invest with these small business grants allows them to get over the top.
And Jimmy, let's get some final thoughts from you about how this all fits in with your mission.
Yeah, well, small businesses, like Eddie said, are hugely important. I think the statistics say that over half of our workers are working for a small business across the United States, and so this is just one way that we can support small businesses. And I encourage any small businesses that are viewing and watching today. We've got a lot of also energy efficiency programs and products and services that they can kind of look up and help save some energy and some money that they can put back into their businesses.
All right, I want to put two things up on screen very quickly. StokesArts.org. I wanted you to check that out and see what Eddie and his group are up to and all the great things going on in Stokes County. And also you can go to duke-energy.com, duke-energy.com for all sorts of information about programs and things that are available through Duke that can save you money and save us energy. Guys, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, Chip. Thanks.
We'll be right back after this.
I am so
Why
frustrated.
can no one help me?
Waiting is the worst. I think it's healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all. Starting with you. Yes, you, Daryl. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting your benefits, prescriptions, and details all in one place. Convinced?
No. But it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina. Making healthcare better for all. Starting with you.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. UNCG. Find your way here.
Back now on Try Today, we're going to talk about law enforcement from a little bit different angle. And we have a very special guest. First-time visitor to the show, Sergeant Alex Stout. He's accreditation manager with the GTCC Police. Good to see you, Sarge.
Thank you, sir. Glad to have you.
Thanks for coming. And as you said before we started rolling, comfortable around cars, too.
Very much so, very much so.
He knows how to fix them and everything in case we want to drive one of them off the lot. Alex, it's okay if I call you Alex?
Sure, sure.
People, I think, know by now that GTCC is famous for training future and current law enforcement people. Mm-hmm. That's a given. But we're glad to have you here today because they might not realize that the GTCC has its own police force.
Absolutely.
And so tell me about the size of that and how it functions.
Well, we are a true full-service law enforcement agency. We have the same jurisdiction or jurisdictional powers that any other municipal agency would have. We have fully staffed, we're about 31 officers, and we staff 5 campuses, and we try to spread our folks out amongst those campuses to where we have good coverage, and we are there 24/7, 365.
Yeah, that's right, because a lot of people forget when they talk about a lot of colleges, even big universities, it's one big campus, but you've got a lot of responsibility because it's spread out.
It's very spread out. We have, like I say, we have a total of 7 campuses, but we man 5, and they're spread out all over Guilford County.
Let me ask you a question. What would you say is the mission of your police force? What, if you had to sort of sum it up?
Well, our motto is ensuring campus safety, and we do that by, of course, normal police actions, but we also stress spending time out with our staff, students, faculty, and we use those, we try to build these relationships ahead of time before something happens so that folks are comfortable with us,
right.
to come to us and that sort of thing, and that just really enhances our ability to ensure that safety.
Absolutely. Aaron sent me an email one day about, and this is something I admit I didn't know, that GTCC's police department was the first in the state to earn top accreditation. What was that all about? Yeah,
it's there's an organization called NCLEA, which is the North Carolina Law Enforcement Accreditation, and it is run by the Justice Academy and some other folks, and they basically have a set of standards that they feel that all police agencies should follow.
Okay.
There's 11 topical areas, 116 of those standards.
Wow.
And you have to meet those standards and show that you comply with those standards.
Well, somebody could look at this and say, hey, I hear what you're saying, Sarge, but why, you guys are a good department anyway. Why do you need accreditation? Why is it important?
Well, accreditation is, like I say, is best practices. Those best practices can change over time. It's a live document type thing.
Right.
But it ensures that we are maintaining a level of professionalism, ethical professionalism, and also operational professionalism.
Right.
So that we ensure that we are meeting those best practices and doing things the way that they should be done.
Right. And again, I think it's really important the kind of rapport and communication that you have with students and staff, especially students, because they know they can count on you, and I just think that's real important. Who or what led you to a career in law enforcement? Because those of you that of course, folks at home may know you, and some of the folks you've worked with, that you came from the Greensboro Police Department. But back up from there, who or what led you to want to go into law enforcement?
Just early on in my life, I've always been in some type of service environment with working and that sort of thing. But even before then, I enjoy helping people. I enjoy trying to do the right thing and make a difference in the right direction. And for me, police work was a way to really be able to do that.
Right. And GTC is a great place to do it.
It is, very much so.
Because you've been there, what, 5 years?
5 years.
All right, well, that's great. Up on screen, before I forget, gtcc.edu is the general website you can go to. That's gtcc.edu, and it has lots of portals on there that you can visit to learn all about the different departments and programs that are going on, and I certainly hope everybody will visit that. Sergeant Alex Stout, I hope you will not be a stranger to the program and come back sometime. And mainly, I want to thank you for your service and what you and your team are doing. Thanks a lot, my friend.
You're very welcome.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Try It Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire. Back now on Try It Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes with the good folks from Mountain Valley Hospice, doing such a fine job to help so many people. With us right now, our special guest on my immediate right, Jessica Simondos, Grief Support Coordinator at Mountain Valley, and Brian Chilton is Assistant Director of Family Services, and we welcome both of you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Jessica, let me start with you. Does grief affect everyone about the same way? I know it sounds like a stupid question. Maybe it is. Does it?
Certainly there are common responses that children, teens, adults all experience in very common ways, but I think grief is particular to everyone. They grieve in relationship to that person.
Right.
So it's going to affect people differently according to that relationship and their personalities.
Right, and as we talk about this theme of bereavement services, let me go to Brian for a second. Now, I know you offer bereavement services, we'll get into that in just a second, but in doing so, is this only available to families who have lost someone under care of Mountain Valley, or what?
No, we offer community support for anyone who suffered a loss. In fact, I was thinking about this coming down the road just today. When a person comes into hospice care, they're diagnosed with a prognosis of 6 months or less.
Right.
But so many people may lose loved ones tragically by accident, unfortunately self-inflicted harm.
That's right.
So they're experiencing the same type of loss that people in hospice do.
Same kind of grief.
Absolutely.
Different circumstance.
Absolutely.
Do these services also include support for caregivers for when there's in-home care, hospice care, and let's say the wife is staying home all the time looking after the husband, waiting for the hospice folks to come who do a great job, but the wife or the spouse has a lot on them. Do you offer support for them?
Absolutely. We can do pre-bereavement services or grief support even before a patient passes, and even beyond after the patient passes. We offer care for caregivers, loved ones, and anyone who's in need of grief support.
Jessica, let me circle back to something you sort of touched on, because I understand from one of your emails that these services are offered for not just adults, but children, teens, seniors. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So we offer support to children, teens, whether they have been in hospice care or within the community, through our Love's Peak program.
Right.
And that's providing specific care to their needs.
Right, because they maybe lost a father, a mother, a grandparent.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think our camp really highlights the different ways that children and teens need support through play, through journaling, through just having a good time together.
Right.
Just various activities that we bring in.
Yeah, they sort of develop their own peer support system too under your guidance. So that's the
absolutely.
last thing I want to touch on for both of you. What advice do you give to families who might be struggling with this decision about we have someone, a loved one, who needs to go into hospice care? What do you say about the need for them to seek help while there's still time to seek your help and support?
Yeah, so I think the main thing I would tell people is they're not alone in their grief, and that they don't have to struggle through this alone, right? And that through support groups, or whether it's formal or informal support, maybe through their church, community, whatever works for them in their own way,
Right.
that support's available, and to accept that support.
Yeah, see, Brian, you're shaking your head. You agree, right?
Absolutely. I just echo the same sentiments that Jessica has presented. It's important for people to know that they're not alone. Support is available, and we just want to be able to help out any way that we can.
Up on screen, mtnvalleyhospice.org. Please check that out. Give them a call or visit the website. All the various services you can learn about in there. Remember, Mountain Valley is a nonprofit. They do not turn people away because of lack of funds, and they help a lot of folks. Thanks for all your work and
Yes,
help.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
I got free meals. What do you mean? No, seriously, how much did you pay us? I didn't pay anything. I learned how to cook all of these fresh foods that were delivered to my house. Everything in that grocery bag that's fresh, I had a recipe for it, and I know how to cook. It encouraged us to eat better, to shop better, make better decisions.
Back now on Triad Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes with some of the good folks who work behind the scenes to make things better for all of us in the city of Winston-Salem. On my far right, I'll introduce him first, our good buddy Pat Pate, who's city manager of the city of Winston-Salem. And Pat brought along a very special guest, her first-time visitor here to the show and to the Auto Museum. She has some family ties to that, which we'll get into in another show. But Leah Friend is here. She's Assistant Director of Recreation and Parks. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Pat, let me start with you. Why are parks and recreation so important to the city?
Parks are such an important part of our quality of life components, and we have an excellent Parks and Recreation department. People just don't realize the number of parks we have, almost 100 parks and recreation facilities throughout the city with lots of programs and events to keep everybody occupied, no matter what age group you're at.
Yeah, Leah, what are some of the, you don't have to mention them all, but maybe a couple activities and facilities that people would know of that you oversee?
Absolutely. So coming up, we have summer camp. That is a big topic right now. We host over 10 camps throughout the city of Winston-Salem. Along with that, we also have swimming pools. We have 8 swimming pools, and we also have Salem Lake and Quarry Park, which are big regional parks.
Now, when you say camps, we didn't rehearse this or anything. I'm just curious. You mentioned camps. Is that like a day camp activities, and if so, for what ages? And tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So we have summer camps. They are for children. Well, we have children that start with us at 5 years old and go until they're 18.
Wow.
So a little bit of everything for. Well, we actually have adult camps as well. So for our senior population, we have day camps as well where we do field trips. But the bulk of our summer camp programming is for 5 to 12-year-olds. That is from 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon.
And it's age-specific stuff.
It is. Yes.
Like
everything is age appropriate. So we really try to. Kids get out of school, they forget how to do math and reading and all those fun things. And so we try to continue on with the literacy program, but we do a lot of field trips. We do a lot of physical education.
Okay. When do you consider summer starting for your purposes as far as these camps and everything? Is there a specific date? Or?
Absolutely. So summer camps start the first week of June, which will be June 1st, and they run the entire duration of summer until July 31st.
Now, is there a cost to participate in the various programs and camps? And if so, is it affordable for families? So help me out with that.
It is affordable. Summer camps run $75 for city residents, $95 for non-city residents. We also provide some scholarship funding for families in need.
All right. Now, I think Pat maybe sent me an email one day about staffing Are you hiring new people, extra people for the summer at all? How does that work?
We're always recruiting summer staff. So we recruit 109 lifeguards for summer for our 8 swimming pools, as well as camp leaders for our summer camps.
How many? 100 what?
109.
Wow, they're not all at the same pool, are they?
No, they're not.
Yeah, kind of defeat the purpose. Now, how can folks apply if they want to do one of these summer jobs?
Absolutely. So they can visit our website at thecityofws.org and click on careers and find either lifeguards or camp leaders.
Now, I assume you have to be of a certain age to be a lifeguard and.
Lifeguards, we will recruit lifeguards at age 16, camp leaders at age 18.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So how many people all total do you think you'll end up hiring for the summer?
Oh, goodness. 135.
Wow. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot. Pat, as we sort of close out on this, it seems like that the city offers something for everyone. You know, Leah was mentioning the pools and the various summer camps and things like that. You know, there are a lot of people who watch the show, and from time to time they'll tell me or see me on the street and say, "Hey, Jim, I saw Pat on there, maybe, or so and so." And I don't have any kids now, and my kids are grown, and I'm paying a lot of taxes, like every county and city. Why is Parks and Recreation? Why are they a good investment for everybody?
Well, they're great for quality of life, and then the other piece is there really is something for everyone. If you're, the latest craze is pickleball. If you want to play pickleball, we have opportunities for you to learn how to do that. But we also have lots of walking trails, biking trails. There's passive parks so people can have picnics with their families, just for all age groups. And we have senior games.
Right.
I have people tell me all the time how they love participating in the senior games.
I didn't know about that.
And we'll have to get you involved in
Thanks
that
a lot,
the next
Pat.
time we have something coming up.
Pat recognizes I'm in my 70s, but he didn't have to rub it in. Okay, up on screen, cityofws.org, cityofws.org. Please check that out for all sorts of activities. To Pat and Leah, thanks for all you do behind the scenes to make things better for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
At Sutton Brothers, we're confident we can help you solve your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs.
So confident that we'll fix it or it's free. Our highly trained technicians will diagnose your problem and fix it with either a repair or replacement.
And if we can't fix it, you won't pay the trip fee.
So the next time you have a problem, call us.
We'll make sure you're completely satisfied.
Guaranteed.
Call Sutton Brothers today and be confident things will be done right. Schedule online at suttonbros.com.
Major funding for Triad Today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making health care better for all. The Roundtable is brought to you by Sutton Brothers, locally owned and operated and serving all of your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the Roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at the Kernersville Auto Museum. Be sure to get your tickets for the big fundraiser on April 25th where they commemorate the 1908 race. It's going to be great, the great race. We want to get to the Roundtable in a second, of course. Ogie Overman's here with us, Dave Briggs, Mr. Theater, and special guest Eric Chilton filling in for Keith Granberry. Eric, of course, a mainstay anchor of WFMY-TV, now a public servant in the city of Greensboro. Guys, before we get to the first topic, and we're going to have limited topics because we want to take just a second to remember our good friend Dave Plyler, who passed away earlier this week. He was 87 years old. Dave was a great public servant, served as commissioner and chairman of the County Commissioners in Forsyth, a longtime broadcaster who I admired and worked with, and he was on the Roundtable from 2006 until 2022. We will miss Dave. Ogie.
Yeah, we were buddies. We were close buddies. I remember going to Rich Brenner's funeral with Dave.
Yeah.
Honest Dave. I knew him back when I was doing radio with Dusty Dunn.
Right.
Dusty had him on his show, and I met him 40 years ago. Yeah,
Dave.
great guy.
Dave was a true legend and a wonderful person.
Eric?
For me, it was because being from Mount Airy, I grew up watching him. And so he was one of the people who had an influence on why I went into television.
Brought in a lot of industry and also broke the story of the Greensboro Four when it was just a local story and made it into a national thing. All right, guys, Dave would want us to move on here with some topics. Last week, Georgia became the first state to suspend their gasoline tax to help offset the sharp rise in gas prices due to the conflict with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Now, would you like to see North Carolina temporarily suspend our gas tax, or is that even necessary, Ogie?
I don't think we're quite there yet. I mean, and even if we did, I wouldn't suspend all of it, maybe portion of it.
Dave?
Yeah, I agree with Ogie on this. What I would like to see is if you have an electric vehicle, that you have to pay some sort of tax to use the road.
All right.
That's interesting because I've never thought of that. Yeah, I would say I will agree with Ogie on one thing. It's too early in all of this to make those big decisions. All of us would love to see cheaper prices, but I think we got to kind of let this play out a little bit more.
After lodging protests and spending $10 million, Phil Berger finally conceded last week the state Senate race to Sam Page. Berger had held on to power for 25 years. Here's the question. Will his loss lead to North Carolina establishing term limits, or did Berger's loss prove that we do not need term limits? Ogie?
Oh, I was wrong. You remember I said he would drag it out for a year?
Yeah.
I don't think term limits are really the problem so much as gerrymandering. Somehow we've got to figure out some algorithms to make it a fair portion, state and national.
And of course, Berger really made those gerrymandered districts.
He did.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, I don't think the $10 million here is really the case. What we do need to look at is term limits, and I think 12 years for a public servant, 8 years if you're a governor, I think that would be plenty.
Mr. Chilton.
I like term limits because I think we need. If you go too long, then it's one agenda. Right. I'm a fan of term. Now, what those are, I don't know. We'd have to figure that out. But I think there needs to be maybe more concise term limits to have more change and get some differences.
All right. A Florida gubernatorial candidate is proposing that his state levy, quote, what's called a sin tax, S-I-N, a sin tax for anyone who creates content on the OnlyFans social media site. Good idea or bad idea? And would this tax essentially constitute a form of censorship, Ogie?
No, please. I mean, come on. Get a life, people. That's nothing.
You don't want the tax?
No.
Dave Briggs.
I have no idea what OnlyFans is.
Well, Ogie will tell you after the show.
That's a different show with a different rating.
Yeah.
No, I think I agree. It's that could be censorship in some ways, I think.
All right. There's some nasty stuff on OnlyFans.
Well, there is.
Well, I'll have to start taking a look.
All right. Ogie's nasty.
Well, a lot of it's innocent too.
In the state of Vermont, there's no minimum age requirement for gubernatorial candidates, and so now a 14-year-old boy is running for governor on a third-party ticket. Here in North Carolina, you have to be 30 years old to run for governor. Guys, would you like to see us lower that minimum age to run for governor, Ogie?
I think 30's fine. I'm okay with 30 years old.
Dave?
I remember hearing about this. We were in Vermont last fall, and they were talking about this young man. If they wanted to drop it to 26, maybe, but I think 30 is fine.
Eric?
Yeah, I think 30 to me, 30 is when I finally felt like I was becoming an adult, even though I'm still not an adult. But that kind of is mentally. But that to me is kind of a good age.
Eric's like Peter Pan. He looks 30. He's going to look 30 when he's 100. Finally, guys, Chili's restaurants engage in a war of words with Ruth Chris Steakhouse, criticizing Ruth for their strict dress code, which includes no tank tops and no revealing clothing. My question to you guys, have you ever worn revealing clothing in public, Ogie?
Well, there's a time and place for everything. But, I mean, I like to dress. I dress like this when I go to a fancy restaurant.
Right.
But there's other times that,
you
like
dress
around
down.
body painters, I just Katie bar the door.
When you're around body painters.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's unclothed. All right, Dave, have you ever...
I don't think I've been around body painters, but no, I don't think I've ever worn anything revealing in public.
In public. Eric Chilton.
I would... If you knew, you know why I would never wear anything revealing. Yeah, there are reasons.
All right, well, that's all the time we have, all except for this. A Texas couple recently celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary. Asked how they could reach such a milestone. The old gentleman said, well, it's easy. You just get married in 1956. So he missed the point of the question, but he just did the math. I'm all flustered from Ogie's OnlyFans.
Yeah, right.
Check out Ogie on OnlyFans. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.